ever felt depressed? I'm not talking about grief here. Grief is that feeling you get when your puppy dies, or you break up with your girlfriend, or tragically your grandma dies. That's grief. I'm talking about depression. The feeling you get when you're trapped in your own mind and you can't seem to get out. You start looking around and you start saying, is there anyone out there for me? Do I have a friend? Am I alone? And your mind starts lying to itself, saying that there's no one around, that you're alone, that no one really cares about you anyways. And you start to believe those lies. That's depression. In Genesis 2, God talks about how it's not good for man to be alone. And in that chapter, God's talking about making Eve. So you start to think, if it's not good for me to be alone, then I must try to find a wife, right? But I think it's deeper than that. It's not good for man to be alone because it's not good for man to be trapped in his own mind. And it's not just about finding a wife. It's about developing community. It's about being there for other believers. In 1 Peter 2:9, it goes, but you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellence of him who called you out of darkness and into his marvelous light. Oh, man, beautiful. And if you read this, a chosen nation, a royal priesthood, a chosen race, that's not individualism. That's not talking about one person. That's talking about a group, a community of people. So it's not good for man to be alone. It's not good for man to be by himself. It's good for man to be in a group, into a community of people. Because God didn't call us to be alone. First Peter mentions that. God didn't call us to be alone right there. He called us to be part of each other and to be with each other. But God called us out of darkness and into his marvelous light. And I believe Peter's talking about the reason you're feeling dark, the reason you're feeling so disconnected is because you are not fellowshipping with others. See, the thing is, with other believers, they can remind you of the gospel and what Jesus has done for you. But when you're by yourself, you convince yourself of selfish thoughts, like I am alone. There's no one out there for me. Who cares about me? Jesus tells us in John 15:12-14, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friend. You are my friend if you do what I command you. Jesus even affirmed this. We aren't called to be alone. We aren't called to walk this earth by ourselves. We are called to be one people, a group of friends, people who keep each other reminding of the gospel. And Jesus goes to the extremes, like there's no greater love than this, that someone laid down his life for his friend. And That's what Jesus did for us. He laid down his life for us. And he goes, you're my friend if you keep my commandments. And he goes, love one another. And when you're thinking about yourself and you're thinking all these selfish thoughts about how alone I am, you are not loving your brother. You're thinking of how your brother can love you. And that's selfish. And I think that's the root of most depressions. And that we focus so much on ourselves that we can't even see past ourselves to see our brother hurting. And we may even see them there, but we think we're too far broken that we can't help one another. And that's when the devil starts winning. That's when we start being divided and start to lose, is when we start thinking about ourselves. And God right here says, don't think about yourself. Lay down your life for your brother. Not just your physical life and death, but lay down even time for your friends, time for them, because we need each other. And if you're stuck being alone, maybe you're thinking too much about how your brother can serve you, and you're not serving your brother enough. And as I said before, I know depression. I go through it a lot. And every single time I'm in it, my thoughts are as woe is me. But when I start thinking about others, start reaching out to others, the darkness goes away, the silence starts to fade. And then you have fellowship. And you have something greater than that. You have a bond. So I challenge you, if you start getting depressed and start thinking about woe is me, make it a point to serve someone around you. If you see someone sitting down on a bench, go and talk to them. Because they probably need you.